Welcome, members, to today's meeting. We need to elect a chairman in accordance with the relevant rules. So, any nominations, Mr. Wong Ting Kwong, Mr. Andrew Leung, who seconds? All right, thank you. Mr. Wong Ting Kwong, please come forward and chair the meeting. No other nominations. The election is over. All right, thank you. No other nominations. Let's invite the administration in. So please be seated if possible. We hope to ask the administration to walk us through the paper. So I hope that we can finish our work in just one meeting. So, Postmaster General, please take us through the paper. Thank you, Chairman. The Post Office Amendment Regulation 2013 seeks to amend the Post Office Ordinance. That is to increase the fees as follows. The postage rates for local mail, letters and packets, bulk local mail, local parcels, air mail, letters and packets, bulk air mail, service mail, etc. And for postage rates for letters and packets, it was established in 1993, and for the adjustments of other services, the last adjustment was in 1995, and now we're operating in deficit. So to recover costs, we are proposing to increase or adjust upwards the rates to recover the cumulative inflation since the respective last adjustments. And even after the adjustments, we are still running a deficit, in particular in some types of services. And comparing to the rates in other postal administrations, even after the upward adjustments, we are still comparatively running at a lower rate. We operate by way of a post office trading fund, which operates on a self-financing basis to achieve a reasonable return, and we'll try to enhance productivity. And in 2011-2012, the financial performance of the trading fund has been deteriorating, and it started to incur an operating loss in 2011-12. The financial performance will continue to deteriorate if we don't adjust the rates, and the service will be affected. In order to maintain the health of the trading fund, we will adjust the rates starting from the 1st of December, and then the postal fees will also be adjusted towards the end of the year for the purpose of recovering costs. After the fee hikes, the post office will continue to provide quality service, and we will also review on a regular basis the postage rates to recover cost and offset the deficit. This increase will not affect substantially the general public. So much for my presentation. Any questions from members? Mr. Tan Ka Pil. In fact, on the 1st of October, principal rates were already increased without any legislative process needed. So, as said by the Postmaster General, the purpose is to recover costs, and also on this occasion to recover the cumulative inflation, you're proposing to adjust the rates. Does it mean that, since you said on a regular basis a review will be conducted, so does it mean that on a regular basis you're going to increase postage fees? Because I read here that you have a deficit of $50 million. The principle of fee adjustment is to recover cost, and since the establishment of the POTF in 1995, the policy objective is that the postage rate increases should be kept broadly in line with inflation, and we are following the principle. The last adjustment was made over 10 years ago. The reason is that we wanted to deploy flexibility as the purpose of the POTF states. We try to explore new sources of revenue and reduce costs to offset the deficits. And in the past, we were able to increase revenue to offset expenditure, which relieved the pressure on fee increase. However, because of inflation over the past decade, the costs have been spiraling, and we have no other alternatives to reduce costs. And since our competitiveness is also decreasing, we need to increase the fees to maintain our standard of service, and even our normal operation may be affected. As for the Post Office Trading Fund, it is running in the deficit. In 2011-2012, we had an operating loss of $50 million. For 2012-13, the loss further increased, and although the principal rates have been increased since October, which can somewhat offset the deficit, they are still unable to reverse the deficit situation of the trading fund, which means in the coming year it will continue to run in a deficit. We will try to save costs and generate revenue in the coming years. And one major task is for us to conduct a regular review on the operating costs and see whether the revenue can offset the expenses. If not, we need to consider the relevant factors. For example, the financial position of the Post Office Trading Fund, the economy in general, affordability of the public, before deciding whether any adjustment of rates is necessary. Earlier, at the Economic Development Panel, some members opined that for future rate adjustments, it should not be done at too long an interval, so that an adjustment wouldn't be made, say, 10 years later. And we have heeded this view, and we try to improve matters in this regard. Mr. Tan Ka-pil, any follow-up? Chairman, any time limit? No, but please be concise because we still have other members waiting. So you say that if necessary, the rates will be reviewed. So on the 1st of October, the rates were increased, and yet they may not be able to offset the deficit. So what is meant by if necessary? Can you tell us some objective criteria? What about review on a regular basis? Can you tell us the interval? PMG, in considering whether there's need to adjust the fees, we look at whether the revenue generated can offset the expenditure, the overall financial position of the Post Office Trading Fund, the economic situation at the time, and also the public's affordability. These are relevant factors which we will consider. as a whole in considering whether adjustments should be made and the extent of adjustment. As to the interval of reviews, we so far don't have a concrete timetable in this regard, because we will continue to look at our financial position and decide whether adjustments are necessary and when the adjustments should be made. Mr. Wong Ting Kwong. Thank you. 4 questions. The first one is about principal postages. They haven't been adjusted for so many years. So members as well as the general public understand the reason. But I do have some questions. For cumulative inflation, apart from principal postage, there are other fees for various postal services which will also be adjusted. So, about the adjustment based on the cumulative inflation, will the services be itemized according to different inflation rates, or that a general inflation rate will be followed in applying the adjustments to various fees? That's the first question. Second question, I understand that the courier service in the private sector is developing at speed, and you are no longer a government department. You're operating on the Post Office Trading Fund. So in the face of competition from courier service in the private sector, do you have any strategy? Now, PMG, you talked about exploring new sources of income and saving costs. So let's talk about sources of revenue. Does the Hong Kong Post Office have any new thinking? In the past, you have philatelic products like commemorative stamps or envelopes. So please explain to us whether you have any new thinking in this regard. The fourth question is on cost saving. Now, the political environment in Hong Kong is that we have many elections nowadays, and whenever we have an election, there will be a massive delivery of mails, and they might be tens of thousands of mail, and fees are waived, but costs are incurred on the Hong Kong Post Office. So what can be done with that? PMG. Thank you, Mr. Wong, for your question. On cumulative inflation, we look at the date of the last adjustment for the respective services as in the end of December last year. And for the various fees for services mentioned in the regulation, the last adjustment was made in 1997, the recorded delivery fee, and the cumulative inflation since the last adjustment was 13%. So the rate of adjustment would also be the same as for other fees like postal box rental, redirection, registration, and compulsory registration, etc. Also, the date of last adjustment was in 1995, and the cumulative inflation is 25%. So that would be the rate of adjustment. So maybe I'll say something about exploring new sources of income and saving costs before I talk about new strategies. Exploring new sources of income, we have been quite aggressive in this regard. Online sale or online transactions have become quite vibrant, and we are thinking of offering services to cater for the trend. And this year we rolled out a new program which offers a counter pickup service. We know that with the prevalence of online purchase, we are delivering more and more parcels and packets, and very often the recipient will not be home, and then the postman will put mail collection card in the post box asking the recipient to collect the parcel at the post office. However, under such circumstances, maybe it's more convenient for the recipient to go directly to the post office to pick up the parcel, and we see room to develop this service in the market. And since the introduction of the service, as expected, many buyers of in online purchases, they utilize the service. On the other hand, the customer of online purchases are more concerned about order tracking or mail tracking service. So in recent years, we have introduced a service called E-Express for the U.S. market.
And we can trace the whereabouts of the mail. So after launching this service, it has proved to be quite popular. And now we are discussing with other postal administrations, and we hope that this service can also be expanded to other destinations. There are many SMEs in Hong Kong, and they are our major clients. We have always been saying that we need to go into the mainland market, or we need to attract mainland clients. So we have been providing direct mail service for Hong Kong. So now we are discussing with our mainland counterparts. We hope that this direct mail service can be extended to the mainland. So SMEs can use this direct mail service, and they can promote their products or service to mainland customers. When mainland people come to Hong Kong, they can go to these services or buy these products. So we would help the SMEs in their marketing efforts. So for marketing efforts now, the SMEs need to make use of different channels, for example, emails or websites. We have noticed that for SMEs, because they only have limited manpower, and if they are to work with different companies, for example, one company would work for their websites, another company would work for their direct mail, so that would be very complicated. So in the past few months, we have launched another service that is a multi-channel e-platform. So the companies can enjoy the service. We would give them design tools, and they can design their direct mail, and we also have an e-post service. So their e-design files can be turned into physical letters, and we would send the letters for them. And if they are also interested in sending emails, we also would have a package for them. Mr. Wong, you mentioned that we have been very proactive in putting together thematic stamps. We have already adopted various stamps, and also when it comes to the printing of stamps, we have been trying to source new technology. For example, for different zodiac signs, we have been printing stamps with gold or silver colors on them. So we would like to attract more philatelic fans. We are doing this in order to expand the market. And also we also have a card service. Now young people tend to communicate online. It's very difficult to ask them to write a physical letter. So for this service, we hope that we can attract young clients. So how do we do it? Now they can go online and they can input a message, and then this message will be turned into a physical card, and we will mail the card for them. And also, we are cooperating with young designers in Hong Kong. They are designing this kind of cards for us. So we have already seen a pretty good response in the market. So we have been trying to explore new sources of income. So for the Hong Kong Post, on top of our major role, maybe we can come up with new services. And we can also design new products. We are trying to be innovative in order to meet the needs of the market. And at the same time, when it comes to saving cost, we also attach a lot of importance to that. We are trying very hard to control our operating cost. In 2009, we have introduced a mechanized letter sorting system, so we can save some manpower resources. And now English address, it can be read by this system. And now we are trying to put together a new system which can read Chinese addresses. Now we have 3 major letter sorting centers, and 2 of them will be combined. That is the International Mail Center, the General Post Office Sorting Office, and the International Mail Center. These 2 will be combined. And after that, all the work procedures can be streamlined, and we hope that our efficiency can be enhanced. As for the routes of our mail vehicles, we keep them under review all the time, because they have to make many trips a day. So we are trying our best to save on cost in this area as well. Now for the past 10 years, I can give you a figure. For our productivity per capita, it has been enhanced by 14.6%. That is because we have used the mechanized letter sorting system, and we have used new IT technology, and we have also been saving in the area of manpower. And Mr. Wong asked us about competition in the market. So what strategies do we have when we face market competition? Well, as I mentioned just now, we are trying to tap new sources of income. We have our core business. We have a massive delivering system, a network, and we also have outlets. We have 126 post offices and 2 mobile post offices. So we have to make the best use of this mail network. We already have a team, and they have their special skills, and we will be trying to come up with new products, and we will enhance our existing services. By doing so, we can enhance our competitiveness. Well, Chairman, she hasn't answered my question concerning election electors. Yes, for election electors, well, who's going to pay for that? REO, that is that REO will be paying for the postage for these election letters. I would like to ask the Postmaster General 3 questions. First, I have read some of your reports, and for the mail traffic, in the year 2008 to 2009, it was 1.379 million, and last year is 1.374 billion. So these figures are similar. However, for manpower in 2008 and 2009, it was about 7,400 people, and now you have only 7,000 employees. So the number of employees has dropped, but the mail volume is the same. So did you lay off your staff in an unreasonable manner so that the remaining staff would have to work overtime? And that's why there is a huge number of cumulative OT hours. And also, you told us that after raising the postage rates, you will still be in the red. And you are only adjusting the postage rates in accordance with the cumulative inflation rate. So if this is passed, does it mean that you can balance your book, or you will still be running in deficit? And in the future, you say that postage rates will be increased in accordance with the cumulative inflation. So can you assure us that your employees' pays will also be increased in accordance with inflation? And also about the Post Office Trading Fund. When it was established, well, at that time, people still had this philatelic hobby, and they like to buy first-day envelopes. So printing stamps was like printing money. So that's why the trading fund was set up, because we thought that you could make your own money. But now you do not have this advantage. And the POTF has been losing money, and the cost has been increasing significantly. Now, before the establishment of the POTF, the Hong Kong Post make use of government premises as post offices, or when they rent premises in public housing estates, and they can enjoy a lower rent. But now it's different. And also with the establishment of the link, now the rent has increased significantly. So even though in the future you increase the postage in accordance with inflation, would you still be in the red? Or do you think you should become a government department again? Otherwise, you really cannot be self-sufficient? Well, Postmaster General, with regards to the first question, well, you said that the mail traffic is the same, and the number of employees has dropped. In 2009, we introduced the mechanized letter sorting system. So we have been reviewing the flow of letter sorting. So from some manual procedures, we had to streamline them, and we also had to make adjustments to mailing conditions so that we can handle the letters in a better manner. We would ensure that there will be enough manpower to do the work. As for overtime work, now we have looked at the mail traffic. Well, there are fluctuations from time to time. Well, the Hong Kong Post is operating in a very flexible manner. So when people come to mail their letters, we have to work for them. And also we have our performance pledge. For example, for local mail, if we get the letter today, we will have to deliver it tomorrow. 99% of the letters can be delivered by tomorrow. So no matter how much mail we have to honor this performance pledge. So sometimes our colleagues would have to work overtime.
However, after they work overtime, they will be given either overtime allowance or they can be compensated through what we call overtime in lieu. PMG, may I interject? You are going to increase the principal postage rates, and you need to offset the compensation for overtime. So how much time will that take for you to offset the compensation? Now, as civil servants, for the accumulated overtime work, the CSB has certain regulations. That is, they cannot accumulate beyond 180 hours. What I want to say is that there is a cap on the number of hours of overtime work to be accumulated. I understand that some staff has accumulated quite a large number of hours, and we have therefore looked into the issue and tried to control the tasks out of which the overtime work may arise. And like I explained, we do have a cap on the number of OT hours to be accumulated. Our target is not to exceed the cap set by the CSB. PMG, even if there is a cap of 180 hours, when will they be offset? So, and how much time will that take? At least it should be pushed down to less than 100. Maybe I'll supply more information after the meeting. The other part of the question is in relation to the post office regulations. After the fee adjustments, whether we will be able to balance the book or even run or even make a profit. As I said in the opening remarks, the answer is no. Even after the fee hike, since we are running a deficit, we will still be running at a loss, and we have set the rate of adjustment or pegged the rate of adjustment at the cumulative inflation rate. That is to honor the pledge of the Hong Kong Post Office Trading Fund at the time when it was set up. That is, the rates should be broadly kept in line with the inflation rate. Now, as for any wage or pay rise for staff in Hong Kong Post Office, they are civil servants, and their pay adjustment is also pegged to the mechanism used in the civil service. As for non-civil service contract staff, we also have an arrangement for pay adjustment, and we abide by this established mechanism in dealing with matters in relation to pay adjustment. Third part of the question. In the past, the Post Office Trading Fund was established because much revenue was generated from the sale of philatelic products. I'd like to supplement. The purpose of setting up the trading fund is to allow more flexibility for the Hong Kong Post Office to operate. The principle of a trading fund is to be self-sufficient, and the revenue should should be plowed back to the operational cost. That is different from other government departments. For government departments, every year, each department is required to submit a budget and there is an application procedure to go through in order to seek funding and funding allocation. As for revenue generated, it goes back to the public coffers. So the purpose of setting up a trading fund is to allow flexibility, financially speaking, so that through exploring new sources of income, the revenue generated can be plowed back to the operating costs and also thereby to enhance the quality of service. Since the establishment of the trading fund in 1995, we have seen how we have received or achieved positive result. That is exactly why we have not adjusted the rates for over 10 years. If we adopt the operational model of a government department, it won't help improving the Hong Kong Post Office's financial position. On the contrary, in terms of developing new lines of business, we won't be able to have flexibility as we currently have. And also for the revenue generated and allocation of resources, we would need to submit estimates to the Central Policy Bureau, and then we need to wait for their decision whether we'll be allocated the resources we need. For government departments offering services at a fee, the principle is also one of cost recovery. If we operate in the form of a normal government department, I also need to follow this principle. And in addition, because of the lack of flexibility, we might have more pressure to raise the rates or fees. Mr. Adam, now the Civic Party has no wish to ask the Hong Kong Post Office to revert to the government department model. But according to Para 10, if adjustments are not made timely to the principal postage rates and some of the postal fees under Cap 98A, it is anticipated that the POTF will still incur substantial operating loss in the coming 5 years, resulting in a complete depletion of the reserve after 2015-16. 2015 is not too long away. It's just 3 years or so, and let's say if we allow the fee increase, how long will the PMG anticipate that the Hong Kong Post Office can last? There may be changes in the future. It is not appropriate for me to say accurately for how long the reserve can last. But I can say that at least as far as the reserve is concerned, it will not be eroded away that easily. We have about $1.8 billion worth of reserve, and the loss incurred every year is offset by the reserve, and for the major costs like staff costs, air conveyance fees, because the majority of mails is outbound mail, and the other cost is terminal due payments. After arrival of mail at the destinations, the destination postal administrations are required to dispatch the mail on our behalf, and we need to pay a fee for that, and that's called terminal due payments. The terminal due payments continue to be on the rise, and if we don't adjust the fees, we need to deploy our reserve to pay for the difference. Although we have investment, it's done in a more conservative way. So we need to deploy funding from the reserve to make up for the loss, and the reserve will be gradually depleted. So what we're doing is that after adjusting the rates and fees in October and December respectively, we anticipate that $340 million worth of expenditure can be offset in such a manner. We may be running deficit in the future, but the deficit will be smaller, so that, like I said just now, we're not only depending on fee hikes. We also explore new sources of revenue. So we'd like to take the multi-pronged approach in future, so that the financial position of the POTF can be more stable. Well, this is not the first time we seek answers from Mrs. Ting. She always answers in a comprehensive manner. My question is this. The trading fund allows you a large degree of flexibility so that you can be creative, innovative. You won't be confined by the requirements applicable to a government department. So my question is, do you have any plan to fully excel the potential of this so-called flexible model? The trading fund allows us some degree of flexibility, but still we are a government department. I can't say that we're not subject to any limit. In terms of staff management and other aspects, we need to follow the rules applicable to other government departments. For example, civil service pay adjustments, there are 7,500 staff under our office. They are all civil servants. I don't have any say in their pay adjustments. Against this backdrop, we are still striving hard to achieve more. That is, to explore new sources of revenue and save costs. As I answered Mr. Wong's question just now, I cited some examples of the new services that we have introduced. In short, we'd like to make full use of our postal network to develop new lines of business and tap new markets. Frankly, it's difficult for us to explore some lines of business, and we won't try too hard in this regard, but we will make use of the postal network and try to maximize our benefit. And I can say that the competition in the sector is very fierce. I can say that it has creamed off the profits to be earned, but this is just one of the examples, and we will do more in the future. Chairman, maybe I'm not disrespecting the PMG. Maybe I will ask a more direct question. In terms of business operation, have you engaged personnel with more experience in this regard, for example, chairman of this subcommittee, to give you advice? Thank you, Mr. Leung, for your comment. And I myself have all along been liaising with personnel from various levels, various sectors. I also liaise with the chambers of commerce, and I also have customer liaison groups. And the groups welcome new suggestions. Of course, after we collect the views, we need to consider the feasibility. But indeed, we have made effort in this regard, and we'll be happy to hear from Mr. Leung if he has any suggestions.
Mr. Tang, appeal. I don't think I need a lot of time to ask my questions. Actually, in your paper, you also indicated that even with these 2 rounds of adjustments, your fund will still not be sustainable. But I'm afraid that you cannot really increase your sources of income. Instead, you would have to cut your staff in order to save cost. Now, I'm very concerned about the overtime work. And also for those employees that have good experiences and they are doing relatively well. However, there is no vacancies for them to be promoted to. And so they are still receiving the same wage year after year. So when I look at your financial performance, it seems that it has not been good in the past few years. So I hope you can give me a guarantee, and that is when you try to save costs, you are not going to cut your staff. I have said just now, we attach a lot of importance to sufficient manpower. As for promotion, well, in a civil service, if we create posts, we really have to look at the need. We have always adhered to this principle. If members have no further questions, then we can do the clause-by-clause examination. Legal advisor, can you take up this task? So for the commencement date, 1st of December 2013. And then clause 3 is to amend section 13. Mailbox and bags charge. At the General Post Office or the Tsim Sha Tsui Post Office, so originally that's for the large box. Originally the charge was $650, and now it will be adjusted to $115 per year. And also at the General Post Office or the Tsim Sha Tsui Post Office for small box, annual fee, it will be increased from $500 to $625. As for back office, private bag will be increased from $270 to $340. Members, any questions? If not, let's go on. 13(1)(b). At the Kowloon Central Post Office, for small box and private bag only, large box, small box, the annual fee will be increased from $320 to $400. As for private bag, it will be increased from $270 to $340. Any questions? No. 13 bracket 1 bracket C. At any other post office, the annual fee for large box will be increased from $320 to $400. Small box, $270 to $340. As for private bag, $270 to $340. Any questions, members? If not, please move on. Then it's clause 16. It's about registration fee. 16 bracket 1. The registration fee shall be increased from $13 for each postal packet to $15.5. 16A. We suggest that for bracket 1, the recorded delivery fee shall be increased from $11 to $12.5. Any questions? Please go on. Clause 17. It's about a compulsory registration fee. We suggest that it be increased from $26 to $31. That is doubling the charge for general registration fee. Any questions? No. And then clause 32. Is about redirecting a postal packet. Bracket A. For a period not exceeding 3 months. For private user, the fee will be increased from $100 to $125. As for business user, it will be increased from $300 to $375. 32 brackets B. For each 12 months thereafter, we suggest that for private user, the fee be increased from $250 to $315, and for business user, the fee be increased from $750 to $940. Okay, members, any questions? If not, then we are done with the clause-by-clause examination. So I would like to ask members, do you want to invite members of the public to the Legislative Council for this? No? On the 6th of November, the scrutiny period will expire. So on the I'd like to apply for an extension, and it will be extended to the 27th of November. So the legislative timetable, on the 15th of November, we will report to the House Committee. And on the 20th of November, we will make a notice, and on the 7th of November, we will resume the second reading of the bill. So we will need to apply for an extension. It's just a routine thing. Very simple. If there is no other business, we will end the meeting here. Thank you.